Hey guys, today I want to talk about, is expat life getting bigger and how's it affecting us? You know, expat life has grown exponentially here recently because of all the COVID people that didn't come are now coming. And they're coming in droves fairly fast here and faster and faster. And I noticed a lot of people that were camping out in Cambodia, China, and other countries, Thailand, guess what? They're starting to get their stuff packed up and coming over here and camping over here now and becoming more permanent, because this was originally their permanent destination, but they went to these other places or they were already there and they were planning on coming here, but now they're coming here permanently. So these people are starting to come here. And what is it doing to the Philippines? It's changing us for sure. Okay, I'm hearing from a lot of my expat friends down in Dumaguete that prices are starting to go up around here. Now, I don't know if that's because of inflation, because they said that the prices already, they told me some of the rentals down there and what they're paying for things. Some of the things I found the same. Some of the things I think were just more inflation, more so than because of the growth of the expats and stuff like that. I think a lot of what's going on in the Philippines right now is mostly inflation in most areas. But when they started telling me a little bit about the cost of haircuts and stuff like that, I think the cost of haircuts there is a little bit more expensive than here. I pay about 100 pesos to get a haircut. And one of the guys was telling me what he was paying there. It's a little bit more expensive there. I think he said it was like 150 or 200, depending on which place you go to. There are some places that they'll do it cheaper. It depends on what barber you go to and stuff like that. But I noticed here in Tracy, we can still get 60 peso haircuts around here if you shop around, 60 or 80, 100. My barber, he's more upscale, has AC. He charges 100. I think down the street here, I can still get a haircut for like about 60. I'm not really sure, but I think it's about 60 or 80 or whatever down the street here. No AC. I think he's counting more on Filipino customers for his clientele, and he's keeping the prices down, hoping that he can pick it up in numbers or whatever, which he probably does. But anyway, here's the thing. With the influx of passport bros and all these other groups coming in here, plus the regular expats that were coming over here already, I'm starting to see a lot more people at the airports. When I go to the airports, I'm starting to see more people out at restaurants. I see a lot more tourists coming in here. And the best part is we're seeing sailors come in here on ships like the USS America that we just had sail in here recently. And granted, those are not people that are moving here, but those are people that might move here in the future because of the memories that they have here in the Philippines. The Philippines is a huge place. When when those guys go back home and talk to their dads that were probably in the military and says, "Hey, Dad, I've pulled into the Philippines," the father's probably going to tell them some stories, and now they'll have some stories of their own. I think that the people that are in the military are changing quickly, and it's a different world in the military now than it was when I was in there, or any of the other retirees out there that watch this show. I think times are changing. But I still think that the majority of people that come in here are expats with military experience in their past. But we're starting to see an influx of people with no military experience, nothing. So the military guys are more likely to be able to survive here and easier in most cases, because we're used to being out on our own. We were able to walk around on alone and do our own thing, more so than the average Joe Blow out there, I think. And I see that these guys that are coming in here that don't have any military experience and weren't used to living, their younger years alone, that they tend to have a lot more problems when they come in here. A lot of the people that are coming in here, I think that they're kind of shocked when they come in here on the low budgets. They come in here and they're shocked at how much it costs for things like for cereal and for foods and stuff like that. A box of cereal is expensive here. A box of milk is expensive. It costs $2 for a quart of milk or more. For a quart of milk, it costs $2. So figure that out. That's about $8 a gallon for milk over here. So don't think that it's cheap over here, because it's not. It's definitely not cheap over here. Milk comes in those ultra pasteurized boxes. It's not even fresh milk. These are the problems that we have over here that a lot of expats don't understand. If you like milk over here, you can get fresh milk if you shop around, but it's hard to get. There are some places, some locales that do have fresh milk, but it's few and far between. Everything is different here. And when you go to Landers or S&R, you're going to pay through the nose because you're usually going to be buying in bulk. You're going to be buying in large quantities, so it will last you for a while. So you pay it all in advance. And when you usually tend to have large quantities of food, guess what you usually do? You tend to eat it, and you tend to eat it faster. It's just because it's there. It's available. It's ready to grab. I can go out and cook up a couple pork chops or a couple pieces of chicken or something like that, and I'll be all set. That's all nice until the end of the month when you got no food in the fridge and you just spent could be $400 on food or $300 at S&R and Landers, and plus the regular shopping that you do buying fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. And yes, that some people spend more than that. I've seen people spend $1,000 in Landers or S&R. People have done this before. It's quite common. Sometimes more than $1,000. They grab all this stuff there. They see all this stuff there. They get tons of Coke. They stock it all away. And then a month later, I see them going to shopping again after spending $1,000. These are the facts of life. And I think even Landers, S&R, places like that, in certain locales, because of the expat community there, they are going up on their prices and everything. The costs are going up. It's changing the lifestyle around here for expats here. One of the guys just recently told me, Steve, I think you need at least $3,000 a month to live in BGC or places like that. And you obviously do need that to live in those places. In Alabang, it's a bit cheaper. Makati's pretty high, probably a little bit cheaper than BGC. Then you get out to places where I'm at. You can live here, man. If you want to live really well, you need at least $1,500 and up. That's just being honest. And I still tell people, if you really want to live out here and be safe, $2,000 to $3,000 is what you really need. And with that amount, at least you can save some money for in your 70s, so that when healthcare costs go up, you have that money hidden away. It's in your account or whatever, and you're all set. A lot of people disagree with me on that because they don't understand the $2,000 to $3,000 also has savings in there to put aside. I make it like a bill because it's actually going to be a bill for the future. For when you hit your 70s, you're going to take out that money. And also you should be building your emergency fund, because inflation eats away at that emergency fund. People don't consider that stuff. They just forget about it. It's like, I got $10,000 in the bank for my emergency. All of a sudden you find that $10,000 isn't going to buy you the things that it bought you before. And also those costs might be more costly in BGC. When you go to a hospital near BGC, or in Makati, you're going to pay through the nose for hospital bills there, because the hospitals are going to be a lot better. And some people, most of us, we're willing to pay that for the extra and better healthcare costs. But if you're living where I live, you might be able to go to a hospital that's very similar in quality, but it's going to be a little bit cheaper. And that's the great part about living around here is that you can kind of pick and choose everything. You can kind of look at it and say, well, do I want to live here? Do I want to live there? And I can weigh things out, costs, rentals, things like that. We got a crying baby here in the background. But think about that when you're looking around, because everything plays into your costs here. The amount of expats around you. Do you want to have a lot of expats around? You can pick and choose areas where there's less expats, and you still got those costs. Like my area has a lot less expats. They are starting to affect costs here a little bit, but not a lot of it. And that's the great part. We don't see that many changes here with the haircuts, stuff like that. That could be inflation too. I'm not really quite sure. I do think though that if you are going to move here, you need to think about things that are close by, all that stuff. Always keep it focused, but they are expats are changing things here in hospitals, haircuts, food, all that, especially places like Dumaguete that are getting big. And Dumaguete is having some problems recently with expats and people there. They're having a lot of things that are changing, and we have to be aware of those. When you go to a place that birds of a feather flock together, when you go to those places, you have to expect that there's going to be some American issues there too, because Americans bring their own set of issues here. And don't forget that, guys. Americans are going to bring their own set of issues here, and that's a huge problem in places where there's so many expats, Westerners, things like that. You're going to start seeing some of the issues on the streets with people, or going to a place, a local place where people all hang out or something like that. You got to deal with some of those American issues. They bring those issues here, versus being in a place with less expats, but they are starting to take over, and it is starting to change things, and it is starting to, definitely move things around in a big way. I'm not sure, where it's going to be like in 5 or 10 years. My thoughts on this are that in 5 or 10 years, with the current influx that we see here now coming here, I think the Philippines is going to be changed. I think we're going to see the Philippines maybe a better place, maybe a worse place. If you like it the way it is now, I don't think it's going to be the same in 5 or 10 years. Because with the amount of Westerners, expats coming here, and like if they all flock to one area, that's fine. But if they keep on moving around, like a lot of them have, and a lot of them are going out to outer areas, and a lot of them are going to the expat, like I said, they birds of a feather flock together. Those places have to grow too, and they have to expand and go out. That's what's going to change the Philippines. Because we might have areas here where you go into a town and it's almost all expats. I can see that happening pretty soon. I can see a lot, maybe not an all expat town, but quite a lot of expats. It's changing that quick. In Dumaguete, Angeles, granted, the Filipinos still have the main amount of population there because they're the ones that are the service workers there. They're the ones who own the stores for the most part in some areas. Some places, the expats own all the stores. It's certainly going to change the way things have been run and the way we see things and the way people live and the hospitals, just the lifestyle. It's going to be different. Anyway, guys, leave your comments on there. Tell me what you guys think. God bless, guys. Take care.